this video, I'm going to be talking about this guy, the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra. Without further ado, let's get to it. Let's start from the top, the unboxing. In the box of the S26 Ultra, which we usually see a warranty badge, you are greeted with the phone on one half of the box, and on the other half of the box, you get a SIM ejector tool, a USB-C to C cable, and a quick start guide in the other box. That's pretty much it. Simple and straight. Let's now get to the phone. So if you've watched almost any review on the S26 Ultra, you'll hear a couple of things first. Privacy display, of course, which is this new feature that Samsung added. Yes, they basically added a different hardware pixel layer on top of this phone so that you can turn that layer on and it blocks people from seeing what is on your phone at a certain viewing angle. Then everyone compares it to the latest iPhone. This is the iPhone 17 Pro Max, the very latest iPhone, and this is the very latest Samsung phone, probably the best Android phone too right now. The third thing is the cameras. This is what almost everyone mainly needs with a smartphone these days. Most people take a lot of photos with their phone cameras. I know I do, and all the memories, all the outings, everything is here. And people take lots of photos, so it's only natural that they compare it to an iPhone or maybe the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra. But what do we get with the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra? I'll come at this from two perspectives in comparison. I'm a previous user of the S25 Ultra, so maybe this phone feels like an upgrade or not. Then we'll come at it from an iPhone 17 Pro Max user's perspective, which they are not in the same ecosystem at all. This is iOS, this is Android, and people tend to make these decisions based on this comparison. So here's my own take on that. Let's start with the obvious one, privacy display. There are a few conditions for privacy display. The first one is that you can block your entire screen completely. So anything that you are doing is blocked. No matter what is happening on the screen, everything blocked, especially if you are viewing it from an angle, but it stays clear straight on. The second thing is that you can block certain apps. So in the conditions for turning it on, if you choose apps, you can select the apps that you want privacy display to kick in. So say you open a banking app, for instance. Once that app is open, technically no one except you will be able to see what is on your screen. This is if someone else isn't looking head on. This is also useful for apps like WhatsApp or Slack for chatting and work emails, or maybe your gallery app. Privacy display will block people around you from snooping into what you are doing with your phone at the right viewing angle. The third is just blocking notifications. So the pixel around where the notification shows up will be adjusted for the purposes of privacy, and that will be blocked. Then you can turn it on for your pins or password. So anytime you're about to type in your pin or password, privacy display will kick in. All of these are pretty nifty. This is something, or these are things that the iPhone 17 Pro Max doesn't have, may not have. Maybe the iPhone 18 or 19 Pro Max will have it. Maybe they'll call it focus view. There's already focus mode. Maybe they'll call it personal view or something. I don't know. Let me know what you think Apple will call it in the comments. I remember being at the launch event here in Lagos for the S26 Ultra and seeing privacy display. Well, I actually saw it before the live event, but seeing it in person made me go like, this is new and probably a worthy feature. The S25 Ultra doesn't have privacy display. My take here is more like an S26 Ultra win, because for a phone that I don't have to import into Nigeria, it does something unique for me. Major points to S26 Ultra. Now, in terms of the actual display, leave privacy display aside, in terms of the display of the S26 Ultra, it is great to watch stuff on this 6.9-inch screen. It is good, it is large enough, and for a phone of this caliber, it is 0.04 inches larger than the S25 Ultra. That is very tiny. In fact, when you look at the spec sheet, the S25 Ultra is so close to the S26 Ultra, and they only differ by very few points. You're not losing anything here really on both sides of the S25 Ultra and the S26 Ultra's display. I've been watching content a lot on the S26 Ultra, and when I use the maximum privacy display option on this phone, it blocks the screen, of course, from everybody, but it had a faded look. And when I turned it off, I was able to watch content better. So watching content is good on this, but with privacy display, yeah, it has some quirks to it. So I'd say S26 Ultra users, turn off privacy display if you want to enjoy the content. Again, you're not losing much judging by the specs alone. Maybe you're even gaining some resolution quality on the S25 Ultra from last year, but it is almost negligible. Now with the iPhone 17 Pro Max though, I find it to be on par both ways. Judging based on the specs alone, you're getting high up there with the Samsungs and the iPhones of the world, but again, it is negligible. They all play to their strengths. All of them seem good to me.
The iPhone doesn't have an S Pen.
What's that? The iPhone doesn't have an S Pen. The camera bump is larger and will wobble with touch on a table. So you probably don't want to leave this phone facing up. You have to face it down to leave it flat on a table. Also, if you're buying this in Nigeria or anywhere really, buy a case for these phones. It doesn't matter, just buy a case for these phones or pay for Samsung Care, which actually works here by the way. You get an aluminum build for the S26 Ultra, Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the screen. It is glass. It will break. On the 17 Pro Max is aluminum, but the S25 Ultra is titanium. That doesn't change much. The 26 Ultra is lighter than the 25 Ultra. They are all IP68 water and dust resistant, so hey, not so bad. I feel very confident using this phone, but not so much without a case. I've been using this without a case for as long as I've gotten it, and I feel kind of confident holding it, but I will be more confident using a case with this phone. This goes for all the phones, by the way. And I've been using the S25 Ultra for a year without a case, and I have a lot of dents on it from using it without a case for a year. Design-wise, the only real way to differentiate between this guy and the S25 Ultra is really the raised bump from afar. And then you have to look closely. Everything, the ports, the button arrangements, they all look like they're on the same spot. The only real way of knowing, again, is the bump, maybe the privacy display, but if you look closer, the edge is a bit more curved on the S26 Ultra than the S25 Ultra. This also goes for the head of the S Pen, and feelings wise, the aluminum does feel different than the titanium. I still have my dual SIM slots here. There's no eSIM enforcement that takes away my physical SIM slots, but it is capable of having an eSIM. The 17 Pro Max design is also a leap in its own ranks, in the iPhone ranks, and the design choices here are very subjective, especially when it comes to color options. And I happen to like both colors, of course. Samsung will always offer more color options anyway. Samsung doesn't have an orange phone, but actually, an orange S26 Ultra will bango. Let's do like a Photoshop with AI somewhere. Actually, Samsung S26 Ultra in orange, not bad, but they'll say they copied the iPhone. Now, how a phone performs means many things to different people. Most of us here use one form of social media or the other, and this is why you would want a phone like this. I'll talk about the battery performance in a bit, but this phone lasts quite well. That aside, what are we working with here? Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, 3 nanometers. We've come really far. Android 16 with 7 major Android upgrades that are promised to come to the S26 Ultra. 7 plus upgrades. That's like you get up to Android 23. Quite nice. That alone is future-proofing this phone. One UI 8.5 as well from Samsung, all the standard stuff, and some extras that we'll talk about later. Trying out the Antutu benchmarks here got the S25 Ultra considerably warm. All the comprehensive tests from CPU, GPU, 4K, and memory, we got a high enough score that landed this to the top 15. But with the S26 Ultras in this spec, 12 gigs RAM, 512 gigabyte storage, they rank 6th globally in terms of performance, which is very, very high. People have often asked that we play graphic intensive games, and one that I tried, Genshin Impact, 40 gigabytes of gaming goodness. It runs really smoothly on here, on the S26 Ultra. Same with Call of Duty and other less graphic demanding games like chess. If you take it to the higher frame rates, you will get minor lags in Genshin Impact, which I've noticed. Let me know what else in terms of performance that you'd like me to test. And if you're enjoying this video so far, do hit the like button and make sure you hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. Let's talk cameras. I think I've not enjoyed phone photography more than I did with the S26 Ultra. I took a lot of pictures on this phone. I went around Lagos Island taking a bunch of photos, and I must say that I had so much fun just using the camera of this phone. All these shots that you are seeing are straight out of the camera. I just wanted to say bravo to Samsung on this one. I noticed some struggle when it comes to light entering the lens, but it still managed to deliver. Even when you zoom in, you still get very, very decent shots. Plus, decent amount of details straight out of the camera. I appreciate a good zoom camera personally because you just want to frame certain angles in a certain way, and when it aligns, it just aligns, and I love that. I like how the foreground separation is done here. It doesn't suggest that I should keep something or not keep something in focus. A good trait of advanced phone cameras is this foreground separation. It is still not a normal DSLR camera, so it is not natural. And this is something to keep in mind. The shots will still deliver for social media use, but like I said, the details are there in just what you need for your shot. At night, you still get decent photos. They try to bring the noise and other negative effects down. With good lighting, the shots will be sharp, but there will be instances instances of noise. If you want to compare it to something like the iPhone 17 Pro Max, you'll notice that in the sharpness and in the saturation as well. The texture of the outfits, the video at night is still the same thing. You need enough light to get good and decent shots from this phone. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's talk about some special features. Let's talk horizontal lock. This one is very fascinating to me. Once you open the camera app and click on video and click on this icon that looks like someone that is running, you'll see this box with a runner. It is their super steady shot with their new horizontal lock. You can just look at the mirror and turn your phone to see the best exaggerated version. And I took inspiration from Becca. So as you can see, I have horizontal lock turned on, and when I turn the camera, you can still see me being straight in the shot. It doesn't matter how I move the camera, I am still straight as can be in the shot. So basically, you turn your phone's camera, maybe you're shooting in somewhere that is not stabilized, the phone will keep the shot leveled no matter what. One thing I know for sure, the iPhone doesn't have that feature. So shout out to the S25 Ultra on that one. There's also Samsung log for those who want to do way more than just shoot regular video. An honorable mention to the ultra wide lens on here. I thought the shots were very sharp. I think the phones that we're comparing today have done decent jobs on the camera front, but the S26 Ultra, very, very promising and useful changes. All right, let's talk battery. Easily one of my highly recommended phones when it comes to battery life. The S26 Ultra is very strong when it comes to battery. You want a phone that doesn't suffer even if you don't have power or you're going to be for a while. This is the phone that does that. I've used it quite heavily and it is reliable. But why would I say that? What I did was I did a 7-hour straight up use with this phone heavily, and I remember the battery being at 74%. And 7 hours later, the battery went down to 38%, just shy of 40%. So I really only lost around 36% in battery life for heavy use in 7 hours. And when I used it lightly, from 100%, it took 3 days before I could even think of plugging this phone. And think of plugging it was around 48%. So almost 50% in 3 days with light use. I personally think that that is valuable. And this is something that you have to worry about with certain other phones. You don't have to worry about that with this guy. In the actual specs, the battery is just 5,000 mAh. It's a considerable size and is the same as last year's S25 Ultra. The battery is durable. It's also capable of 60-watt charging with a wire, 25-watt wireless charging, 4.5-watt reverse wireless charging. And that to me is a decent set of charging options. Let's talk AI and some of the extra features. I'll start with the S Pen. The S Pen is a stylus, nothing much except that it has a curved head now. One thing you must know though is that you cannot use one S Pen, the S26 Ultra S Pen, for the S25 Ultra and vice versa. It's not compatible. As I mentioned earlier, it is with One UI 8.5 and you can customize your control center any way you want. Apple is really standardized, and in the S25 Ultra, you cannot really customize it as much as you can here. Maybe not yet. Watching media on platforms like YouTube, you can toggle on voice isolation to make the voice in focus so it's clearer, and it feels like one of these aid and accessibility features, so kudos to Samsung for that. It is one of their AI features for which you have to sign in to use. You can also auto screen calls. From the phone's app and settings, you can toggle call screening, and this will automatically screen the calls that you receive by answering the phone for you, especially when it's an unknown number. You need to download around 500 megabytes in files for languages, which for me was English language, and it can vary from device to device. Google has always been a partner with their assistants, at least the default Google Assistant for most Android devices. It is still here with all the circle to search goodness and more. Now, there's Perplexity, and think of it like ChatGPT is backed by Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Nvidia, and some other companies. You can go into settings to the advanced features, the side button, and the long press, which is for the power button. And when you click that gear or settings icon, you can change it to Perplexity. You get a few details when you use Perplexity as your assistant. Do you use Perplexity, and how has your experience been? Let me know in the comments below. Let's talk pricing. This is one of the most expensive phones that you can buy right now. I'll just go ahead and say it. Every year I make posts about launch events. I make a tweet storm or X storm, if you will. And the one that gets the most attention of all my tweets and most reposts is the one about the price. The base S26 in the US and parts of the world where this is priced in dollars is around $859.99. Let's round it to $860. That's 1.2 million naira. The previous S25 was just $799 or $800, roughly 1.1 million naira. So price increase with the S26. There's also a price increase for the S26 Plus from the S25 Plus, but the S26 Ultra is different. The price remains the same for the base model. $1,299.99 or $1,300. That's around 1.8 million naira as of April of 2026. The official price according to Samsung is lesser, 20,000 naira lesser, 1,780,000 naira. The dollar price has been the same with the S24 Ultra and the S25 Ultra, and we're seeing that with the S26 Ultra as well. Now, probing deeper into the S26 Ultra, you're looking at 2 million and 2.4 million for the higher storage versions. It's really easy to see why pricing is a very common topic. Only a few people can comfortably spend 2 million naira on a phone, and the S26 Ultra is not a phone that people will say it is time to get the previous model. It is the same price with the previous model. It is the one phone that people are looking to get in the new series. And for people who can afford it, they're really thinking, is the camera better? Is privacy display worth it for me? Will this phone last? As a reviewer, I find all of this to be true. Maybe the lasting bit is something I'll have to test over time. I'd say it's also all good. Privacy display is worth it, except maybe when I'm watching media. I'd say it is a small cost to pay for privacy in some cases. You can get a privacy screen protector, but why would you even do that when your phone can do that already? The other thing I commended Samsung for is shooting their event with their S26 Ultra. A brand being that confident with their phone, making their launch event with their phone makes it easy for people to say, yeah, this is an easy buy. That's pretty much it from me. Let me know what you guys think about this phone in the comment section below, and I'll be right there chatting with you guys.